Hey everybody, welcome to Dent Sports. I am Don.
Steve.
And I'm Bryson.
From Tuned In Sports.
Yes.
Welcome to the Tuned Up Sports, because there's a lot of shit flying around here.
Yes.
Garbage time is the name of the game here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of garbage, I mean, there was some person that, was posting all the stuff with Matthew Stafford going around about him pretty much officially being traded from the Lions. Not yet to somebody, but they're pretty much not expecting him to be back with the team in the following year. And so I was interacting with somebody, and I was just like, replying back, and I was like, hey, please come to Denver, right? And then so some other Yahoo from internet world comes back and goes, come see me in Boston in the springtime. So, which is a song, right? There's a song that goes like that. Please come back,
Right. Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm like, oh, that's funny. So I'm like, you know what? Screw this guy. So I tweeted back to him, and I was just like, here comes the clown back to Boston. And I found a picture of Patricia on a four-wheeler coming up into the interview, like one of the gifts.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, here he comes. And I put it back there, and I put a hashtag, no pride, one pride, Broncos country. So, that way we're all incorporated, into it. But I thought it was just funny. I'm like, okay, yeah, you want some idiot to come back to Boston in the springtime? Oh, there he is.
Yeah, you can have him for free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, really? This guy's, this guy's a waste of time. And, he can go join McDaniels. Back in the fun bus with him and Belichick,
Yep.
Back to this stuff. But anyway, the main thing though is, the hugest news in this realm is definitely Stafford not coming back, because that really pretty much hammers the wedge between what was guessing and what's reality. That really puts into perspective now what Detroit has to do, and it gives a glimmer of hope for my team. I mean. Because, again, he's going to be sought after by many teams. Personally, I think his best choice is the Colts.
Yeah.
But, again,
I think so.
I hope he comes to my team. Not say, don't worry about it. But, again, we have lots of things that we can throw a lot of things at to see if we can land a Watson, Stafford, and then maybe even after LaFleur's spectacular job this week, might even get Rodgers.
Yeah. Exactly.
So whatever, the world's our oyster. So hopefully, maybe John and the crew can still hang around and see if they can, swing some people back to our side.
No,
but,
exactly.
But the first thing that's important is what's with the Lions, right? What's going to happen with the Lions and their organization moving forward? I thought myself it was pretty crappy that, that they really didn't say, what was going on. I mean, I guess it's smart in a way, because you're not going to let everybody escape. Because as soon as they said, Stafford's not coming back, it was going to be like, oh, the hell with this, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Whoever was left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I understand it. But, nice thing, at least they, gave the dude and all these other new people, the heads up that, like, hey, Stafford's not going to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is kind of nice. But, again, this goes back to the same point that we always talk about. This automatically kicks in a rebuild. Mm-hmm. Hell or high water, however you look at it.
Yeah.
So.
No, unfortunately it is. We've been here too many times already. I'm used to seeing this, feeling this way, except now it's got an additional pain with losing my favorite player. I mean, I can only imagine that Stafford probably looked at this and said, I don't want to be here for another rebuild, Like, I want to go somewhere where I got a chance at winning. And, I can't do anything but, give him props for as long as he's been there, how tough he's been, played through injuries his whole career, been a stand-up guy, been willing to take the heat when there's been heat given, even when it really necessarily wasn't something he should have been taking, but he stood up and said, I need to play better. And he just does and says the right things. It pains my heart, actually, to think that, he's not going to be around anymore. I didn't think that he was the problem there. But it's not just the Lions that made that decision. He made it as well. So I can only wish him the best. There's a lot of teams like Don just alluded to that are going to be willing to go after his services. I can only hope that it's a team that is in the AFC and not the NFC, so we don't have to see them all the time. The Colts actually wouldn't be a bad place for him to land because we just played them this past season, so it'll be a few years before we'd ever see them. Not to mention, I just think it's a really good spot. Like, the Colts are right there, ready to contend.
And you'd like to see him go somewhere where he has a chance to win.
Right. I mean, more than anything, I'd like to see him go somewhere where he can win. And I think, the Colts are a really nice spot. San Francisco would be good. I even like Denver as a landing spot for him because of the fact that Denver's got a lot of young talent, a lot of ability there, and they got a defense, which is what you need, really. One thing that he's been lacking his whole career is having a defense that actually didn't allow more than 40 points a game. So,
We've been lacking a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, with that being said, I mean, it would be a really nice fit, I think, on both ends. Yeah. And I feel horrible inside. I had a hard time sleeping last night, actually, thinking about this. It just really ruined my day. Being a fan as long as I've been, the one constant that's been pretty decent with that team has been his play. They've had a lot of, he's been basically doing most of his work without a running game or a defense for his entire time in Detroit. They've never put running backs around him. They've never done anything to help him out. The team won and lost based on how he played. Truthfully, it's just really sad that that's the case. And that, the management has taken that approach, or the ownership has taken the approach of, hey, putting people in the stands, this is great, Mm-hmm. Now, with that being said, I'd like to get in a little bit about one thing I am happy about. I'm really not happy about Stafford leaving, but in hindsight, I can definitely understand on both ends why maybe it needed to happen. But with that being said, I really believe for the first time that I think we might be going in the right direction here. The Lions have been super active since the end of the season. Matter of fact, I don't think there's been a team more active. Right now, I mean, every time I turn around, they're hiring somebody. That's why we haven't been able to put the videos out so much. It's more people getting hired every day. So it's like, hey, So over the last week or whatever, we've hired a new GM, Brad Holmes, new coach, Dan Campbell. We hired John Dorsey. He's going to come in and kind of be part of the the drafting piece of this organization, along with the GM. He's going to be there to help. I thought that was a great hire. I think he's going to be a big piece of how we can turn things around. We hired Ray Agnew, who's going to be the assistant GM, and then we also brought in Aaron Glenn to be the DC and Anthony Lynn to be the new offensive coordinator. So, I mean, we're talking about wholesale changes everywhere you look. And so with that being said, that's why I said I understand Stafford not wanting to really be a part of it. And from a team standpoint, maybe it's time to turn a new leaf, and maybe this time, if we get a good quarterback in here, maybe they'll be a little more appreciative of what the guy's doing. And, hopefully with this group of people, maybe the turnout will be different. I can only hope so. But anyway, I mean, just a lot of new hires, a lot of people with experience, football guys, that, can add, add something to the piece of this puzzle. I really was I didn't know what to think about everything initially because, I mean, the first piece to fall had to be the GM in my book, which they did take care of that. Because I was thinking, well, what the hell? If they hire the coach before the GM, well, those two guys might not get along. Then you got this whole, don't see eye to
Power
eye.
struggle.
Right. You got this whole eye to eye, seeing eye to eye piece to deal with. And that's not to say that you still can't have issues, because that's, I think all teams go through it. I'm sure, everybody's decision making is a little bit different. Not everybody likes the same players. But I really believe that we've gotten a really qualified staff together now with, good pieces and good, ways to change this. And my hope is that this is not going to be a 3-year project where 3 years from now we're sitting here talking about another rebuild. Mm-hmm. This needs to be the core people moving forward for the next decade. I really believe it, because that's what successful teams do. They don't get rid of coaches, GMs every 3 years. You just don't do it. It's a recipe for disaster, not how to win. You look at stability, like the Steelers and some of these teams that have success in this league, they have stability in the front office and in the coaching staff. And, it's one thing that leads to another, and if the train starts going in the, right direction, it builds on it. And it's kind of like the snowball thing where it just keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and to the point where eventually, you actually can push your way into the playoffs, or maybe into a division title, or maybe even a Super Bowl run. You never know. But in my opinion, as sad as I am to see Stafford go, I'm extremely, extremely happy with the people that the Lions have surrounded themselves with.
For once.
Right. And I really feel like the ownership is finally saying, okay, we need to get people in here that know what they're doing. I really believe it.
Yeah.
I really do. And, that's my only hope. Everything I've heard from Sheila Ford Hemp and this and that has been that. I really don't have any reason to believe it should be better, but I don't have any reason at this point not to believe what she's telling me. And all the moves that they're making tell me that they're tired of seeing bullshit as well. Like I said, nobody wants to see them win more than I do. It's just depressing year after year to have to sit here and worry about who we're getting in the next draft, or, whatever, or who the next coach is going to be. Because we've seen all the coaches, we've seen all the GMs, and the carousel just keeps going round and round. And this is finally a spot where I think maybe we have an opportunity to get it right. Mm-hmm. And that's the only thing that I can hope. And, there's a lot of good things, in my opinion, that are going on right now. And it may take a couple of years to get it right. But I think if we do it correctly, I think what we really should do first is fix the run game and the line. Bring whatever quarterback you want to in here right now, because it's not that important. Because if we don't have a running game and we don't have a line and we don't have a defense, that quarterback isn't going to matter. Stafford is a prime example of what it looks like when you have nothing else. Mm-hmm. People criticize him all the time, saying, oh, he threw this, threw that. Well, he's the only guy. he's the only reason you're winning games. And so I really do feel like they got to fix the other pieces and get that in place. That way, when you bring a young quarterback in there, he's actually got a chance, because you got a running game. You got a defense. This guy's going to have a chance to make a mistake and not, basically throw the game away in the first drive, because we're not going to be able to score. You have to have these things. Anybody that's good has them. So, in my opinion, we're going about it the right way. I just hope that the emphasis now, if we can draft the quarterback, if they think this kid from Ohio State or whatever is the quarterback of the future, then by all means draft him. But let's fix the rest of it. We can bring this kid along, whatever, but let's fix the rest of it first, to where when this kid comes in, he's walking into a situation where he's got a chance to be successful. Because obviously we've seen it all the other ways, not with just the Lions, other teams too, where guys are thrust into the position, and then Sam Darnold or whatever, same thing, thrust into the position, and doesn't matter how talented they are, they got nothing around them. So you just can't, you're not going to be successful. So with that being said, like I said, I'm really happy about the direction we're going in. Matt Stafford, awesome quarterback. Hate to see him leave. I can only hope that he ends up on a team that will do him some justice. It would be happy to have him and want him to be there. He's a really good talent, and I think if he was in the right situation, he can win you a Super Bowl. I mean, he's never had the complete package around him to be able to do so. So I really believe that whoever, depending on what the situation is where he goes, I think he can do it. And I will buy a jersey of whatever team he's on. I don't care who it is. I'm going to get a jersey just because I respect him. I got mad respect for him. So that's my piece on Detroit.
Yeah, for me, pretty short, but I agree with what he said. It seems like it's about time that they start putting people in place that at least gives them a fighting chance. And okay, well, this looks like not just a lateral move, but an attempt to maybe get better moving forward. And I think that's one of the things that I've seen, let's put it that way, seen with them in the past, is they always seem to make lateral moves. Mm-hmm. It's like, during the offseason or something, they'll bring in a nice receiver or something. But the problem with that is that he's replacing somebody that they traded for almost nothing because they couldn't work out a contract with him. Mm-hmm. Or, we drafted yet another tight end, but that's only because the last one that we had that was serviceable or whatever, we let him walk out or we traded him away. So instead of, it's one thing to address needs in the draft, but when the needs are always the same thing because the people that you have are leaving for one reason or another, you're not getting better. You're just either staying the same or maybe getting worse. What I mean? It's like when you're trying to replace, for instance, Darius Slay at corner. He was an established great corner. Mm-hmm. And now the guy that they brought in, Okuda or whatever, the jury's still out on what he's going to look like. I saw some promising things, but, with rookies, they're going to struggle a little bit, especially the first season. And he's going up against some of the premier talent in the league. So it's not going to be easy. But all I'm saying is even if he turns out to be as good as you could hope, he's still going to be just a Pro Bowler, pretty much, which you already had one. So lateral moves where you're just replacing talent that you already had and not really getting better. But it seems like at this point, maybe they're starting, personnel-wise, maybe not so much with the players. That's yet to be seen. But in terms of the front office and stuff, it seems like these are people that are being brought in here that are proven and at least have experience. And also in a lot of these cases come from winning situations, right. Which, we saw how that worked with Patricia and Bob Quinn, so doesn't always equate success, but at least it's like, why on earth did we even get this guy? Doesn't even make sense, head scratcher, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then last thing is something that I wanted to bring up that actually, I heard the Dose of Dion guy say in one of his videos that we watched is don't force whatever it is, don't force it. One of the things he brought up is and Dad kind of alluded to is if you are at the point in drafting where you see a quarterback and you think that he's good, then take him. But if you aren't sure or don't think that he's going to be it, don't just take him because he's the best player available.
Or the best quarterback available.
Yeah, the best quarterback available, and he doesn't fit your system or your direction or anything. You have, especially defensively, you have so many other areas that need help. Don't just force the quarterback slot or other places for that matter as well.
Right. No, that exactly.
Don't draft a star receiver because you feel you need one when the safety is getting burned on every single play and things like that. So
no, just draft logically.
Logically, and fill needs more than getting the best player for the position. And I feel like if they can do that, then you'll start to see less lateral moves and more, okay, we're actually going somewhere, as opposed to what we've seen for, the last handful of years, which is
garbage.
Exactly that. Yeah. So, but
no,
yeah.
I'm
I like
what
agreement.
I see, though. No, I'm in full agreement with you. I mean, there's no question that we have enough holes on this team right now that we need to draft where the needs are. And Dan Campbell, I'm sure between now and the draft, they're going to be watching so much film that they're going to be sick of watching football by the time the draft rolls around. But it's also at a stage where this is probably the most important draft / offseason that this team has had in a long time, as far as trying to change the culture and, get this team where it needs to go. So,
well, and the other thing is, it's like, in terms of trying to get the best quarterback, I understand it, but at the same time, you've already had a good quarterback, and it's proven that just the quarterback's not going to get it done.
No.
So why, as far as I'm concerned, the smarter move would be to bring in somebody who could be serviceable or maybe better than that. I mean, I'm not saying that there would be somebody that would be better than what Stafford was doing, but I'm just saying bring in somebody that's serviceable, that could at least do the job for this season, build a team around it, and then if there's not a quarterback in this draft or there's not a free agent you can get on your hands on this season, then next year have that be the year where you say, okay, we're going to do everything we can to get this guy, as opposed to saying, well, we don't really have anything, so we're going to throw in the boat on this guy that we're not sure of.
I think a lot of it's going to depend, too, on like what they get from a team for Stafford. I've heard a couple of different scenarios out there where one team, I think it was, I can't remember which one, was offering 2 first-round picks for him, which I'm like, well, that wouldn't be a bad thing. You get 2 first-rounders for Stafford, that could be immediately something that would be worth looking at. Like I said, I really believe that the way to do this is fix the line in the defense. Get that so that running game is running like a clock. I mean, I think they have talent there. Swift's there. He's a great running back. Kerryon Johnson's not bad. We didn't get the production out of the running game simply because I think partially was Patricia didn't fucking care to run the ball.
Can't run it. What's the point?
So, I mean, to me, let's get that line fixed. Let's get that defense productive. Let's get it. I just like to see our defense be like 15th. Be in the top 15 defenses. Get that. Because if we're in the upper half or at least in the middle, okay, we'll be in games.
Serviceable, yeah.
Right. I don't have to.
Something where you're not giving up 30 a game.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, that's what it is, right?
No,
Just the same as trying to score 24, but if you give up 30, 38, you're not going to win.
Right. No, exactly. So, I mean, and again, it's like, let's get that fixed to the point where, we're going out and getting solid production. Because the more that we do that, and I mean, I really don't believe that this is a team that is like that far away from competing. I realize we lost Stafford. But I think there is some young talent on this team, provided that they don't all leave, which could be the case. But, I mean, I don't really feel like this is as bad as it could be. Defensively, I think it is. I think it is as bad as we could be right now. I mean, Patricia brought this defense to the worst in the league. So, I mean, that's on him. That's on Bob Quinn and him. They took, everybody that was on this defense before when what's his name was here and got rid of him. Gave away players, for nothing.
Or just cut them.
Yeah, just flat out cut people, whatever the case was.
Like snacks and.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody
you had
else.
disgruntled players leave that are serviceable.
Yeah, I mean, I was waiting for hopefully when they're going to get rid of Davis, and I'm like,
yeah,
get that guy.
Yeah,
He's pretty damn good.
No, exactly. So, I mean, for me, like I said, I mean, I think if we can do it and build this the right way, then we have a foundation that's going to last for a long time. And then we'll start to see the dividends paid back when we get a quarterback that's decent. I don't even think you have to be great as long as you're good, and God forbid if we could get our hands on another Stafford then with a running game and a defense, well, now we're going to win a Super Bowl. That's the way I see it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, you're just hoping to get somebody elite like we got with Flacco. I mean, so. I mean, for my take on the Detroit side, and like I said, I'm really happy because I think actually Detroit has what they have is actually going in the proper direction they need to go.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, they've swung it too far, where it used to be we don't have enough people that we never do. Now we've got 2 people running 2 jobs. You know what I mean? There's too many cooks in the kitchen, I think. Unfortunately with it. But that's better than not having anybody in there that doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have
this problem than that.
a paralyzation of trying to figure out what we need to do instead of some guy just putting his hand in the hat and pulling out a number. You know what I mean? So that's the thing I like about that. The key with it too is like you said though, I think the key part is no matter what is they got to make sure ownership, GM, and coaches in lockstep. If they can build that chain with those 3, then they're good. Because once you become good, just like everybody else you see, offensive coordinator, defense, they start leaving. You got to replace them. So for those people to be like, the cogs for the next several years, it probably won't happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Realistically, it's not going to happen.
No.
So again, you need to make sure the coach, GM, and ownership is in lockstep.
Yeah.
Next step would be that they actually need to make sure what do we have, right? They need, figure out what the hell you can get for Stafford before the draft happens. See who wants to be here. If nobody wants to be here, you got to get rid of them. Get what you can get with them. Because again, same thing. You're going to have disgruntled players, and they're going to be poison in the locker room. So you want to have actually people that want to be there, and that's how you're going to build around it. Yep. And then, like you said, don't use the stupid analytic drafting. Do football drafts. Hey, we need a right tackle. Go get a damn right tackle.
Yeah.
If he can come later in the draft, he's not there or whatever. Trade down.
Yeah.
Works perfectly, right? Because again, just like you said before with all the drafts, I mean, most of the time you're going to get busts than you are successes.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's proven with it. So again, get people that want to be there. You have people that do the research. Again, with a lot of people that have experience with drafting and X, Y, and Z. Do your homework. Get a draft board of every player you can imaginable.
Yeah.
And then start the process. And then it's going to have to go through there, year after year.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the key part with it. And then, of course, like you said, even though it sucks, but, just like I said with the Flacco thing, you got to get a quarterback that's above average. Because even average quarterbacks will drain you just as bad as horrible ones. Because they'll be, again, you're sinking money into something that's not actually giving you benefit.
Right.
So hopefully they can get somebody out of it because, again, molding QBs are tough too. Believe me, we know, freaking carousel. So, I mean, we've drafted them, we've done everything, and it's all sucked. Or we've done the low ball budgeting one, right? Oh, Simeon's a 7th rounder. We got him. Okay, let's start him.
Yeah.
Didn't work. So, again, it's just got to be that gel, right? That you got to be able to find it, and hopefully you'll hit it.
Yep.
With it. But again, at least they're making the right steps towards getting better.
Yep.
Instead of just circling around the drain.
No, I'm full agreement with everything you said. Like I said, I feel really good about what we've got going on here. And I mean, John Dorsey, I don't think he's going to be there maybe past this season. He's being brought in to just assist with this draft, basically, and the off season. So I mean, that's really that's I mean, because Brad Holmes has never been a GM.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's kind of learning on the fly, but what he was brought there to do is he's a talent he's a talent guy. He understands talent.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's what I want him to do.
Yeah.
I could care less whether he's handling the fucking, the cap business or somebody else does. I want wins.
Well, no, like I said, that's good with it. But again, like I said, you still need that person that does know the contracts because you don't want to paint yourself in a corner. I think I saw something with Brandon Perner talking about the Saints, right? Their salary cap screwed. I mean, they're like 100 and some million over the cap limit. So that means they're got to be cutting good people to do it. So like you said, if you have those bad contracts, they'll kill you just as bad as a bad player. I mean, but again, that's good though. Hopefully he'll get the knowledge to learn from it. And like you said, just give him time.
Yep.
to see what he can do, right? If he makes a mistake, he makes a mistake, but don't sit there and as soon as he makes a mistake on something, then, crucify him and then get rid of him.
Yep.
Because then you're going to be doing it all over again. Like you've been doing it for 1958, right?
Yep, 57.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Don't sell him short.
Yeah, well, I was trying to give him I was trying to give him a little bit of a data boy for a year.
Yeah. No, but I agree completely with what you're saying. And, I mean, truthfully, and here's what is another optimistic piece of this for me is due to, like you just said, with this cap hell that's going on, there's going to be a ton of players available this offseason. And because of the cap numbers being what they are, these guys are going to either not going to play or they're going to have to settle for less money for this, short term anyway. So Detroit could very easily wind up with a really nice crop of players, some of which may be Saints. Because Dan Campbell has, whatever.
Exactly.
And or maybe the guy for the Rams brings some Rams guys over. Who knows? Whatever. I mean, my point is that now more than ever, I think you have an opportunity to turn it around in a quick hurry and be decent. Because of the amount of players that are going to be available due to cap
issues.
Right. People having to cut players. They're just going to have to. Like you said, they're $120 million over the cap. Well, that's quite a few major talent players going to be leaving.
Yep.
So teams like Detroit and Denver, who are now sitting at, 4 or 3 or whatever wins respectively,
combined.
Right? Could easily next year be sitting at 10 or 11 wins.
Yeah.
Just with a few moves.
Yeah. But again, it's that same type of thing that we talk about all the time, right? I mean, you can still have a lot of like the Jacksonville situation, right? You can have a lot of room, but everybody's gonna look like, do I really want to go play in Jacksonville? Or I can go like the Leonard Fournette thing and go, hey, I can go for cheap and go get me a ring and then go pick up a check after,
Yeah, for sure.
So again, it's as always as everything, right? You got to be able to make it enticing for free agents, even though they might be getting a pay cut to go there. I mean, and that's the reason why I thought the Colts thing is the perfect thing for Stafford because they have a defense, they've got the line, they've got a running game. I mean, they're built to win the Super Bowl right now, and they're just missing a quarterback.
Yep.
I mean, and a serviceable one. I mean, Rivers was great, as always, like a competitor up the wazoo. And with his 20 kids, he could do whatever he needed to do. But I think if you get Stafford in there, I think that puts the Colts up there with the Chiefs real fast.
Yeah, I do too.
Because they've got that ingredient to beat them, right? You run the damn ball, stop and play damn good defense.
Yep.
And be in it. So
no, exactly.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, but again, it all depends on circumstances and. On what you can do and make the most of it.
No, exactly. So, I mean, obviously, we're talking here on Dent Sports. Detroit wasn't the only team to make a GM move this offseason. Denver hired a new man himself.
Yeah. John went up to the top to drink like me.
Yeah, there we go. See?
Go, John.
Yeah.
By his drafts, I can tell he was drinking on the draft day too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my personal feeling on this one is I think it's actually a good move. I think they need to get somebody in there that's focused on it. I think not saying John kind of got lax in his job or whatever, or maybe just but he's at a point too where he doesn't really want that anymore. He wants to spend time with his grandkids and go live the good life. He's put all of his life into football, so he's probably like, hey.
Yeah, well, he's been in Denver forever, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
he can go have some fun. He can still be
go plays
involved.
golf.
Right. He can still have some fun, be involved, but yet,
Just wait till that ownership opportunity comes along so he can make a bigger check.
Right. No, exactly. But, I mean, I think it was a great move for him to step aside, and I think it was time. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of excited about the new guy they brought in. He seems, so far from what I've heard and seen on some other, Denver feeds and stuff, that, everybody seems to be pretty happy with, the direction. And, there's a lot of speculation, too, that, they're in the market, obviously, to get a quarterback, and which is needed, The thing that I like about Denver's situation really is that's really all they're really missing. And
health.
Right.
That's the only thing, right? Quarterback and health.
Right. I mean, it's just, but the pieces they have there are more than serviceable enough to get into the playoffs and make a run. Mm-hmm. And if they were to get a guy like a Stafford or somebody that is better than average quarterback to come in there, and because Denver can do all the things you need to do. I mean, I like the way they run the ball when what's-his-name's healthy. Mm-hmm. And they got some talent at the receiver position. Defense, we've talked about so many times about how well they played all year long. Constantly kept them in games. Now, they didn't win a lot of the games, but they were in them, which is a big step, from what it could look like. Yep. So, I mean, as a Denver fan, I'm like, hey, this is great news. We're going to get somebody in here who's got a fresh idea. He's excited to take the job, and maybe build his own, rapport with the fan base and everything. And if he starts doing shit right, they're going to love him just like they love John, because ultimately winning is what matters. Yep. So if he comes in, he's got a fiery attitude and ready to go for it. And, seems like so far, I mean, everything I've heard or read seems pretty goddamn good, what he wants to do. I kind of like it, Like I said, I think it's time. It's just that time where it's like, okay, it's time to turn the page and let's move on to the next thing, And in Denver's case, I mean, I don't really think you're looking at a rebuild. I mean, a lot of the pieces they have are young. They've already kind of been in it.
Yeah.
Super League.
Since Super Bowl, it's been that way.
I mean, they've been in a rebuild, more or less. So, I mean, it's not like somebody's going to step in here and they're going to be like, oh, all our talent's going to go. A lot of it's all on rookie contracts and young. And, I mean, the defense is awesome. And I'm excited for Denver football, truthfully. I think they're going to be really good. I don't think it's going to be a scenario where, this team takes a step back and all of a sudden, we're winning one game a season. I mean, we're already winning 4. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, like I said, I totally see it as, Peyton as the new guy as a positive. But I still think it's kind of on a teeter mode with it. He's coming in and he's pointing the needle in the right direction because he's saying the right things.
Yep.
Where he's saying like, hey, we're going to be involved in a lot of stuff. We're going to make sure we take care of our people that we need to take care of on the team that are under contract. So hopefully that means Simmons, and hopefully that means Lindsey, which will be fantastic. And then I think the big cog is the quarterback. Mm-hmm. This is where he's going to either sink or swim right away, because if he doesn't pull a trigger on the move, then we're still okay. I think we're still going to be, learning and developing the younger talent that we have, but it's going in another direction.
Yep.
Older, and also keeping the ninth draft choice could still really bode well for us.
Yep.
I know I think Bouye is going to be gone. which he was gone most of this year. And then when he was out there, he was still horrible. And we paid him, good money. But, I mean, that means, hey, we pick up Surtain from Alabama, which would be, there you go. Plug him right in opening day. Or, whatever they got. I mean, because, again, we had so many players play so many games that maybe we have youngsters in. And then I think, hey, why not take a risk on Waddle from Alabama too?
Yeah.
Because, why not throw another weapon out there? Then we could have, Patrick and Sutton, Judy, and Waddle out there and go, okay, fellas, what do you got? And then maybe that will light Judy's ass because Waddle's kicking his ass just like he did in Alabama.
Right.
You know what I mean? Hey, you're making this money. Let's start playing, right? So again, I think that would be twofold. To me, I really like to have Waddle because then that also gives us a punt returner.
Yeah.
Which gives us another weapon that would be needed as well. But again, we'll see what happens because the big piece is the quarterback.
Right.
So if he does pull this trigger, and if for some reason it's a Watson or a Stafford or Rodgers even.
Yeah. Whoever.
It better work.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, then we're back in the Flacco, Keenum, and then we're putting more horses on the fucking carousel again. And then we're going backwards with it if we miss it. So again, I like I said, I like all the positive stuff with it, but there's still a lot of risk.
Oh yeah.
That's on it, and of course then, you have the Chiefs still in the freaking division, so you got to be able to compete with those guys.
Oh yeah.
So.
As fun as the carousel's been, people are starting to get dizzy. So it's time to hop off it.
We're throwing up over here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, we have not just been on this channel; it's been on TuneIn Sports and on the other ones too. Is that they're not as far. Their record is not necessarily an indicator of how far away they are from being able to actually do something. They need to have a handful of things just stop going wrong. From the quarterback position, which is, obvious, duh. But like he said, to injuries. I mean, it's one thing to say, wow, we've got a lot of talent, but for one, if that talent isn't on the field, it's not helping you. And for two, if that talent is taking up contracts and they're also not on the field, it's definitely not helping you because not only are you not getting their production, but you're also got money sucked into people that can't stay healthy. And, people, I know it's a common thing, and I hear, especially with my team, people want to say, oh, the injuries and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, injuries happen every season. Sometimes you get hit hard or insanely hard like they did this year. But for the most part, no matter what you do, you're going to have people go down with injuries. So you need to be able to plug and play a little bit. And especially on the defense, I saw a lot of that this year. People go down, people step up. And I think in some ways, as much as it sucks to be sitting here and saying, wow, we only managed to win 4 games and stuff like that, as much as that sucks, I think in some ways last season was kind of a blessing because you saw some of these guys that otherwise probably wouldn't have seen the field out there, and you really were able to assess their talent because they were thrown out there when maybe they shouldn't have been. But they were out there. Some guys stepped up and some guys fell. So I think this was almost 17 games worth of a preseason for you.
No,
in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
But no, like you said, it was actually a blessing because those guys now that didn't want to see or weren't necessarily ready to see the field have got game experience.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
now when they get out there the next time, it isn't a deer in the headlight situation. They're ready to play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it made a wonder of difference for depth. It's going to be a wonder of difference for experience, like he said. And I think it's going to be, the biggest thing is a world of a difference for figuring out who needs to stay and who needs to go. And the other thing is with all the other talent, because you didn't have certain people like Von Miller and people like that to fall back on, other guys really had to step up. And you saw who was capable of doing so and who kind of, once some of the cogs, like he always says, fell out of place, who kind of dipped. And some of them dipped pretty damn hard. Like Abuye and some of these guys, they really kind of got exposed a little bit as a result. So, nonetheless, great things with that. And then, the quarterback, that's really going to have to be something that happens because they've had, just about every other position in one way or another, and it just hasn't happened. And that position, once you have that fixes a lot of other issues. Having a Rodgers on the team, that'll hide a lot of other things that maybe aren't so good. Hell, we saw it with what's his name, Mike Evans, and some of these guys in the Bucs game today. When you're wide open, and or you're able to catch passes and stuff, you can have any receiver if the quarterback can put the ball in the right spot. You know what I mean? You can have any of these guys will be able to make it given enough time and opportunities. But when you got people that are overthrowing and throwing it to the wrong people and stuff, even the best wide receivers are going to have a hard time with that one. Yep. And then the only other thing is I think that having Fangio, whatever, however you pronounce his name, another year is really just something to hold him over for another season. And then they're going to be looking for somebody next year. Because unfortunately, now don't get me wrong, if they bring in a quarterback like a Rodgers, like a Watson or somebody like that, you could definitely see a drastic change. And this team could go from 0 to hero. Not saying they're winning the Super Bowl, but they could definitely go from, okay, we're sucky, to, okay, we can at least compete and play with just about anybody. But if they don't get somebody like that, I don't see them turning this ship around, and if that doesn't happen, I see them firing him and then bringing in somebody else. So, in my opinion, unless you're a believer that he's the guy that's going to turn the ship around with his strategies and his game planning and stuff, which all signs that I watched pointed to no, I think it was a bad decision to keep him around because he's just a stopgap.
No, totally. Like I said, under my perfect circumstances, I would want Bieniemy as my head coach.
Yep.
Which could still happen because I think that Houston job is just complete hot garbage. I don't care if you want a head coaching job. I would not go there. No. Because it's horrible. You're going to lose your quarterback and you got nothing. And you're going to lose Watt. There's nothing going to be there. So let the guy from Buffalo take it. The defensive guy from Buffalo take it. So guess what you do? You're probably going to be in the Super Bowl. Good chance of winning the Super Bowl again. Mm-hmm. And you're going to sit another year under Reed, right? And then guess what? Then when these next job openings come, you're going to be able to take whatever you want. And I would think, Denver would be a perfect place. Mm-hmm. And it would be great for us because then at least, again, we could be burned by the Josh McDaniels thing, or maybe it wasn't the OC, maybe it was the fat guy with the Chinese menu, running the whole show. But at least we give it a shot, and we can try to dethrone and take a piece from the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And hurt them two ways, right? Take the coordinator and become better.
Well, and there's a big difference between, we got this guy, it seemed like a smart hire, but he didn't pan out, and what the hell is this? Why did we take this guy when this guy's available?
What, Vance Johnson? Vance Joseph? When we had Kyle Shanahan, whose father coached us?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, why? Why do we want to do that?
There's a far cry difference. Exactly.
He was actually at the games when he was a little kid, watching his dad and hanging around the practices. Why would we want that guy?
Yeah. If you get somebody like a Bieniemy and he doesn't work out, well, that sucks, but I'm not going to question the hire for a second. If he came to the Eagles, he went to the Broncos, anybody that took a chance on him, that's a chance I'm willing to take. As opposed to, this guy looks pretty promising and he came over here from this organization and, once in a while the offense looked like it could do something. But, the biggest reason I say that with this guy looking like a stopgap is because, for one, some of the things that I saw him do reminded me a lot of Peterson. And I said this time and time again about the Eagles is that I saw them making mistakes that had nothing to do with personnel. And that goes the same for the Broncos. Stupid time management, clock management, horrible decision-making analytics crap that I saw with the Eagles. Yeah. It gave me PTSD.
Yeah. Or overcompensate analytics.
Yeah, exactly.
Where the analytics tell you to do something and you do something completely opposite because you didn't do it 3 weeks ago. Then you're like, oh shit, I got to do it again.
Yeah, now we're going to do it.
Oh
shoot, now we're screwed. Yeah,
no, he's just the second coming of Wade Phillips.
Yeah,
I mean he's just dopey out there going.
Yeah, and the problem with that is
he's a D coordinator. That's all he is.
And
he's not a head coach.
And the problem with that is that when you got somebody on there that can be a problem, and that's regardless of the talent, even when the talent gets there, he could get in the way. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that if they get a Stafford or somebody and they drastically improve, mm-hmm. it's going to look like he was part of that, mm-hmm. and so you'll keep him for even longer. Yeah. And he's not the guy.
Yeah, I don't see, and I hope that they don't see this as well, but hopefully they do. Like most great teams do, is they just move along, right? I mean, you see it with like the Lakers, right? Hey, we got Magic Johnson. We drafted him. Okay, hey Westfall, see you later, dude. We got this Pat Riley guy. I could see that. Where it is like it might be nothing out of his control. But you know what? We need to bring somebody else that's better.
Yes.
Into the fold instead of what we got, and we can do good here. I mean, same thing with Chicago Bulls, right? I mean, Doug Collins, fully serviceable coach, but we're gonna get this Phil Jackson guy. Well, mm-hmm. Guess what? It's a different level. Even though he was playing with the best player, in all basketball, they still made the move where like, oh, you're fired. Mm-hmm. We're gonna bring in this other guy. So, like you said. Hopefully he doesn't survive more than this next year.
Yeah.
But hopefully we get the pieces in the right spot and then move it forward.
Well, I could see a scenario similar to the Detroit scenario where the Broncos get off to a rough start. He doesn't make it the full season. Mm-hmm. I could definitely see that being the case. I could see them saying, "Okay, we're out of here," and put an interim in there for the time being, and then. Focus on the head coach, coming into offseason or whatever. Yep. Because, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it seems like times are changing where it used to be guys would make it through the season. Now it's not that way. Teams think nothing of saying you're out of here after 5 games. Mm-hmm. Whether it sets the team back further or not. It's like, you're out of here. See ya. Yeah. And maybe it's just, especially in a place like Denver where, they've had the good life. They know what winning's about. They've tasted it. Yeah. And the fan base is a little less.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say. I mean, the nice thing with us is, we've been full circle. We were the laughingstock of the league when we first started. I mean, we were the the team with the vertical stripes and brown and yellow. Mm-hmm. I mean, Bennett's not here to rate those colors, but they're pretty much down at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
With it, and so I mean, they sucked until they got the Orange Crush and got things going in the 70s. And then Bolin took it over in the 80s, and
right.
It was, off the charts until, just up to 5 years ago. Now we're going pre-Orange Crush days.
Yeah.
So it's getting to the point, and then now people are, like you said, just like, depending on the generational things, some of them never dealt with this before, where the team sucks.
Yeah.
Where the team is not good.
Yeah.
And they're going to be 500 or below. So the expectations are way out of whack.
Yep.
But again, like I said, Broncoville and Broncos country is not sitting pretty happy right now with what's going on, because this shouldn't be happening. I mean, we are a pretty good franchise, but again, just like you said, guess what happened? The shit fell apart. I mean, Kubiak's health went to shit. Mm-hmm. Bolin's health went to shit. He died, and now we're dealing with a freaking mess.
Yeah.
So again, it's the same thing. We need, that pillar up in the top.
You need stability. Yeah.
Until that pillar happens, and then it gets solidified. Nothing's really going to change too much.
Yeah. Well, and that's why we talked about this GM being a good move for them, because they need to start there. Mm-hmm. Get that piece figured out. Get the direction the team's going to go in, and then hire the rest of it from there. And like I said, I could see it. I mean, being a situation just like Patricia was in, like, okay, you got to win. If you don't, okay, well, guess what? You're not going to make it past 6 games or whatever the hell. you know. And like I said, it's changed to me because it used to be that guys would make it through the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then they'd say, okay, see you later.
We're no longer in need of your service.
Right. Yeah. Now it's like, hey, boom, out. Yeah. See ya.
Well, and like you said, I mean, we've had experience with it. I mean, it was, like I said, after Reeves, it was the Wade Phillips thing. And then, he was the first guy during this period that started having a losing record at home. And everybody was like, whoa, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they nipped that in the bud real fast. And the same thing. They got, different coaches in, and they got Reeves in, and all that stuff. And then, same thing before. Guess what? We're losing again. John Fox. Okay, cool. You got us to the Super Bowl, but you lost.
Yeah.
See ya. And that, that's where Coos came in. And they're like, fuck, okay, we got Coos. But, now we're hitting that same thing, though. But, we're making that systematically changing. I mean, McDaniels, we got rid of him fast too.
Yeah.
2 years he was done. Even less. I think it was a year and a half. I think it was the same thing. Mm-hmm. And then now, we got the Vance Joseph thing. Now we're on the Fangio thing. It's
no, exactly.
Well, and that's
we're on another carousel, just the coaching one.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I say
this one goes in the other direction.
That's why I say I think it was a mistake to keep him around again, because unless they get a quarterback, I don't see it being that change. And therefore, even if he gets fired early in the season, you just now marked up another season to, okay, we're not going to do anything. Yep. Whereas if the right guy's brought in there now, which, is the right guy even available, somebody that's going to come in and be loads better, I think the guy for the Chiefs. But if they weren't able to get him, is there a better guy out there? Maybe. I mean, that's kind of opinionated. I think there is probably, but, whatever. But other than that, I mean, you're just basically accepting, we're going to be what we were. And even if they fire him early, it's going to be another season of, okay, I guess we just sucked this year. And that's not what it should be. If you brought the right guy in here now at the start, now you can say, well, at least we have a direction and this guy knows what he wants. And if they get the right quarterback, then you have the quarterback of the future, or at least depending on the age, at least the next handful of years. You got that taken care of. You got this coach that you feel good about, and he can lead the team and keep the direction going, as opposed to now where you're like, well, even if we get the quarterback, I still don't think the coach is the right the right player, the right coach. So now we still need that, and you're not set up there. You still got to worry about, who are we going to bring in at the coach, and what does he want to do with the team, and you just got a whole bunch of potential holes in the boat, so to speak.
The quarterback, though, is to me the big position. The quarterback is going to be what makes the coach look decent.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is going to make any coach look good. I don't think that this
LaFleur look good.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think LaFleur is that great of a coach.
Or McCarthy, right?
Right. I don't think those guys are great coaches. But when you got that kind of a talent, I mean, really, they don't need to be great because you got talent, and you're going to play through it.
No, I agree.
I mean, that's really what it's about. I mean.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying, like I said before, if you got a coach that makes decisions that can put them in the hole, even with those kind of players, like we saw with LaFleur today, we saw Doug Peterson. I've been seeing it year after year. I mean, when your coach is literally taking you out of games and stuff by decision making, then that might not impact whether or not you get way better, but it could impact in a playoff position, where you're facing other teams that are very, very good.
But you don't see those things happening to good teams. You see that happening with the Eagles, but that's because they're garbage right now. 4 wins. If they were at 10 wins, he's probably not in that position, not making those type of calls. Is my point. The coaching, I don't think the coaching. I don't want to poo-poo the coaches. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't mean it to sound like anybody can coach a fucking team. No. But I think it's a lot less to do with what the fuck Ron Rivera says to somebody than it is about Aaron Rodgers being able to fucking throw the ball correctly, and make the correct read. The coach isn't making the reads. The quarterback is. Like you said, I mean, I understand, the coach is setting them up for bad things if he's making bad decisions. and pulling guys out or whatever, but case in point with that is like at the end of that game, if they're not a 4-1 team going nowhere, he's not in that situation. Right?
Yep.
He's not.
But the only reason I say that is, okay, let's use the Broncos, for example, last season. Doesn't matter if you have Philip Lindsay, who I believe could be one of the better backs in the league, if they don't use him correctly or don't even attempt to use him. Half the weeks, I wouldn't even know if he was hurt. Because with how little they used him, you would think, oh, did he go out with an injury? He only had 6 carries today. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So you can have, and I mean, with the quarterback, obviously, he's going to be throwing and involved in every play, so it's not as big of an issue. But I'm just saying, if you don't use these people correctly and you have coaches that don't know how to use the talent correctly, then you can still run into problems. Mm-hmm. And if the right quarterback comes in and makes this guy look like, a complete charm, and you're having him, again and again, I still think that it could be a problem come playoff time when you face the people that are the elite coaches of the league, because year after year, we talk about, if we could do this, we might be able to get in there. But then we see the same teams in it every year. And anytime you go against these certain coaches, it doesn't matter who the personnel is usually. Their teams are in it. And a lot of it is because of the coaching. So, I don't know. But
I mean, you're getting me fired up for Patricia and Bill O'Brien, to come in. Take the reins. That's just freaking awesome.
Bob Quinn's available.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm just sad about that.
Well, no, but I'm getting fired up for O'Brien because he's coming to Alabama.
Yeah. Well, he found a good spot. He's got all the talent in the world. So,
yeah, exactly.
That's with it. So good luck. If he screws that up, then that's totally on him. You know what I mean? I mean, you pretty much got the golden goose.
No kidding
on that one. So, just like to your point. I mean, look at Arias, right, for Tampa Bay. The guy's a freaking joke. He's horrible. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. But look, he's got Brady now. And look where he's at.
Yeah.
He had it with Winston and everybody else that was a quarterback in Tampa. Mm-hmm. But look, we got this guy, and he's like, oh, shit, yeah, I pretty much like what he's doing. He's doing great.
We're going to a Super Bowl.
But again, you know what I mean? So again, as always, right, it's timing and situations and just where the pieces fall.
Yeah.
That makes most of it. And it's just, again, blind luck.
No, and I agree with him. I mean, it's kind of pointless to keep this guy around.
No, like you said, when they announced that they're going to keep him for another year, I was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, woo! It was
Thank God.
It was like, oh fuck, we just screwed this up.
Yeah, it was like, wee.
Yeah. It was wham.
Yeah.
It was just like, what the hell? That was with it. So again, we'll see. Just like everybody else, right? We just we're not making the decision, so we gotta sit here and figure out what we do and do the armchair quarterback stuff and see where it goes.
Well, truthfully, you got to allow your coordinators to coach.
Yeah,
let them call the plays. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. That's what they're hired for. Yeah. And that's why when I was talking about Detroit, when they were talking about this thing and when they were talking about this coaching thing and what they're looking for is a leader of men, not necessarily an X and O's guy, I'm good for that. I'm good with that. I want a guy that can coach the coaches. I'm not concerned about whether he can dial up a fucking play or not. I want a guy that can coach the coaches and keep this team running in the right direction. Get the fucking morale up. Get the little things that aren't X's and O's. That's what changes it into a winning team. Jason Garrett can draw up plays. Yeah. Right? But he's not a leader of men.
Yeah, you need Dicka.
Right. No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
You need a leader.
You can't have a guy that has you down by double digits before you even put your first points on the board because he doesn't have the team ready, like mine.
Yeah. Well, it's attitude. It's attitude.
Yeah.
It's like Vrabel, all the other ones, right? They put the team in that mindset. Harbaugh, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They put them in the mindset and they get them going and they roll most of the time.
Yeah. No, and that's because the coordinators are coaching. Mm-hmm. Those guys are successful because they're not trying to coach the ball. Yeah. They're not trying to coach the offense.
Yeah.
So
Tomlin. The same example is just
it's perfect.
They're out there in the league. You just have to look for them, but they're usually up near the top of each of the divisions.
Yeah.
So.
No, you're exactly right. That's case in point. Tomlin. You know, he's not out there trying to tell somebody how to throw a football. You know, he knows Big Ben knows what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, he's allowing the coaches to coach. That's what they need to do. That's why they're hired.
Yeah, and he's trying to keep Antonio Brown off of TikTok.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or Juju off of whatever the other one, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all it is, right? It's pretty much HR, you know? He's doing an HR policy.
Yep. No, I totally agree. So this was actually a really good video. I thought it was nice to have Bryson join us today. Bryson's, you know, he's on Tuned In Sports, which those of you that watch us have seen us on that as well. We're constantly on Tuned In. So
you know
it was
what kind
nice.
of pain it is over there.
It was nice to have Bryson on with us today. We all kind of work hand in hand together, and you know, Detroit and Denver sports, you know, continuous, you know, uphill battle in most cases. You know, very few times do we actually have teams that in more than one sport that are competitive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like freaking Tampa Bay right now, right?
Right.
Stupid baseball teams going to the World Series. The fucking Lightning hit the cup. And then now Tampa Bay's in the Super Bowl. Well, the home game
Right.
for the Super Bowl. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, the normal crap that was happening in Boston.
Yep.
What the hell?
No, exactly right. You know, so, but we can't be fans of that. You know, I gotta
No.
be fans
No.
of
Yeah,
team where we got the doormat.
Yeah, we got to
of
sit at the
league.
bottom of the basement. Look up.
Yeah, we're the worst team in the league. Yeah. That's always a nice feeling.
Yeah. I got the Detroit Lions of basketball. I mean, the Nuggets have never done anything, you know, a little bit of success in the ABA, but as soon as they got to the league, you know, to the logo,
Yeah, it's been
you
a
know,
struggle.
it's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. We've had talent. You know, I think, you know, there was a video that you guys were just making, talking about going through NBA rosters, and I was sitting over here on the side, and I was just laughing my ass off because I'm sitting here going like this. Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, how many times have I sat here and go, wow, okay, if we just have this little nucleus, and then we start getting nucleus, and then we start trading people away.
Yep.
You know, and then it goes through another cycle of, oh, now we got these nice players, you know, kind of like where we're at now. You know, hey, we got a nice little set of nucleus, but what do we need? We need a splash player.
yeah,
We can't get them. So you know what that means? We're not going anywhere.
yeah. You actually
You know
make
what I
the
mean? It's not
playoffs,
going to be there. You know, I mean, we did it before, right? When we had, again, we did the same thing. We went through the draft, right? We got Carmelo Anthony and all these players. And guess what we got? Oh, we got Allen Iverson, right? We got Kmart. We got these people and we went to the championship, right? You know, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And then guess what they did? Dismantle it, right?
Yeah,
And then there's the same thing happen again, right? We had Chauncey Billups, blah, 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 local kid, blah, blah, blah. What do we do? Dismantle it.
yep.
You know, he goes to Detroit,
Wins championship.
wins a championship. You know what I mean? It's just like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? It's the same shit
Yeah,
over and over again, you know? So it's just fucking great, you know? Like you said, so whenever you say the Lions, I go, yeah, I got the Lions of basketball,
yeah,
you know, on ours. Or you can say, you know, you got the Nuggets of the NBA. You know, it's just like, jeez.
yeah. No,
It's
it's
brutal.
Exactly. I mean,
And yeah,
both of our.
I was gonna say, don't even get me on the Rockies. I mean,
Yeah.
they're fucking gone.
I mean,
know?
both of our teams, both of our cities have had winners. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, the
we've done the
Broncos
World
have won.
Series. We've
Yeah.
done things.
Yeah, we've had winners in sports. I mean, the Red Wings used to be one of the better teams in hockey,
Yeah.
and the Tigers have had success, and the Pistons have won multiple championships.
Michigan football.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions are the only team that's never flipping got it together,
Yep.
and so I mean that's what makes this such a painful event all the time. But I mean, truthfully, I mean, as a whole, I mean, both of our cities have had some very nice times, but few and far between.
Wouldn't trade them for the world, but
Yeah.
it's just no consistency or you know
Right.
of sitting here going like, you know, must be nice to be like a Steeler fan or you know, or you know, New England in this last
Decade.
20 freaking years.
Yeah, 2 decades.
You know, to sit here and go, oh, or like I said, the Boston thing, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't a year that they didn't have a team in the or at least hoisting one cup or
Yeah.
you know some type of trophy.
Yeah.
It was either the Celtics or the Bruins or the Patriots or the
the
Red
Red
Sox.
Sox,
It's
yeah.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Always got something to be happy about.
Yeah, it was like, oh man, this must be, you know, that's the life right there.
Yep.
I mean, you always had something, even if your other team lost. You'd be like, oh man, that sucked, but hey, we got this team. Look at this.
Yep.
Throw them in the mix.
Yep.
You know, and over here we just go, oh, that season's over with. Oh, look at the fucking shit we got to deal with now.
Yeah. Hey, you think we'll get first pick in the draft?
Yeah. Oh, I get 162 games of Rockies. Oh, this is gonna be fucking great summer. It'll be over. It's over by June.
Yeah.
I'm already looking at as soon as the NFL draft hits, I'm getting fucking excited for football again.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, what kind of deals can we do here? Oh, when does spring camp, come in, and when do OTAs happen? Because I don't give a shit about the Rockies right now because
Yeah.
they have no pitching
Yeah.
for the last 25 years plus.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good times.
It is.
So I think that puts a cap into the evening right there.
Yes, I would say so.
Leaving the way you started pissed off.
Yeah, exactly. Still drinking. This one's for you, John.
Yeah.
Before I go, though, I know nobody gives a shit about this, but Kubiak officially made his retirement this past week, so kudos for Kubes.
Yeah, for sure.
Hell of a player. He was the holder for many years, and then came in whenever John sucked as the backup quarterback.
Yep.
Started a few, played in a couple championship games when John was hurt. And then went on the coaching staff and was the hell of offensive coordinator for 2 Super Bowls, and then came back and got a head coach and gave us another one. So hopefully he'll get his name in the Ring of Fame, which I don't see why he shouldn't be in the Ring of Fame at the Mile High Stadium. So
Yeah, that would be a nice.
yeah, like I said, you can't say Broncos without Kubiak, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
Again, same thing like you said, Shanahan coach, but who's the OC and who's the other guy that's leading it?
Yeah.
It was Kubiak, and obviously he knew what the hell he was doing because then he became the coach.
Yeah.
And took him to another Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and won it. So anyway, I just wanted to get that in before this was a close because, like I said, just a big part of Broncos.
Oh, for
lore.
sure.
So
Yeah. That was well said because, like you said, you really can't say Broncos without thinking about the fact that he was a part of most of their winning. So definitely a guy that should be in the Ring of Fame, and I hope he gets there. That'd be cool.
So, all right. Thanks, everybody. And, like Bryson always says, smash the shit out of that subscribe button, hit the likes, put some swear words in the comments, and we'll swear right back at you. And have a good night and good rest of the week. And Super Bowl, whatever, it's going to suck. So.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm going to do something else.
Peace out.
See you guys.